was a child, all of a sudden I felt the presence of a little girl around me. And even though these children may be a miscarriage, they can still communicate because, from my perspective, they still have a soul, and their soul can communicate to me. And this little girl was just wanting me to know that this was not her mother's fault. There was nothing that she could have done to change this situation. It was just not this little girl's time to come. And so a lot of times when someone is grieving from that, from the loss of a child, or especially the loss of a child, the grief process is just tremendously painful, and it's something that you just have to let time run its course. You can't force any particular methodology to cure the problems, but in their particular case, it was just this little girl that was coming in, and I was noticing that the energy of their other children was just kind of I'm not saying they were neglecting them, but these other children were not getting. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be with you in just a minute. Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay. But these other children were just being. The whole family is in grief, so everyone's kind of hunkered down, so to speak. Now, when this next lady coming on, let's see what we can get from her, if you don't mind, and see if we can pick up some spirits around her. What is your name, ma'am?
Like my real name?
Well, do you want to give your real name, or you don't have to?
It's Purple.
It's
I'm
what?
in the chat room. My name's Purple.
Your name's Purple? Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you calling from, Purple?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular question, Purple?
Yeah, I just want to know, if you can see what's going to happen in the next 5 years or so.
For you or for mankind?
For me, yeah, for me.
Okay. Purple, have you been on a self-improvement program lately?
I was trying to be.
Were you trying to lose some weight or try to change
your...
Okay, because it just looks like you have you want to kind of change the energy around you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been thinking about going to school or getting a new profession?
I am in school at the moment.
You are in school? Okay. So you're going to be getting a new profession. Okay. Purple, I'm not sure you're going to stay where you are. Do you want to move to another place? Do you want to move to the United States or another city from where you're at?
Well, I don't want to stay in where I am at the moment, like, forever. I do want to move eventually. Get my own piece of land or whatever.
Okay. It just seems like right now there's this feeling that you don't think that there's enough opportunity where you're at, and that you may have to move. Okay, and then you now are you living with someone right now, or are you currently single, or what?
I'm living with somebody at the moment.
You are living with someone at the moment. Okay. Do you not want that person to know everything that's going on in your life? Do you want to have some privacy?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think that in the next 5 years, you may be leaving that situation and moving on. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that you are going to try to strike out with a new life. Okay, so it seems that this particular relationship or situation will end amicably, though. Okay.
Okay.
So who is this that you're living with? A boyfriend?
No.
Who are you living with?
A relative.
You're living with. Okay, so this is going to end amicably. And you're going to go strike off in the world on your own. Okay. Now, do you have animals around you? Do you have a pet, a dog around you?
Yes, I do have a pet.
Okay, is this a small dog?
It's a cat.
It's a okay. It's a small. It's a cat. So it just I wasn't quite sure if it was a cat or a dog, but it just seems like this is a good companion for you. So does that answer your question, or it seems that you're going to move with the job? Okay,
I'm gonna move with a job.
you'll have a job. Okay, have you done any dancing or anything like that for a career?
I used to.
Okay, this hasn't been at the clubs or anything, has it?
No.
No, okay, because
No,
it
I used
seems
to do it like as a hobby.
as a hobby. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Because I'm just seeing you doing some dancing and stuff. So, does that answer your question, or do you want something more specific? Have you done any phone work? Do you do telephone work?
Telephone work? Like,
Yeah, have you done any work on the telephone, like customer service on the telephone or anything?
No, not really.
Okay,
No,
because
nothing.
that's something that you could do too if you wanted to. You could work on the telephone.
Really?
Yeah, if you wanted. Okay.
Huh. So,
Okay.
okay, all right. I think that's
Thank-
all I have.
You think
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello?
Thank,
All
thanks
right.
for calling, Purple.
Thank
We
you.
All
appreciate it.
right, thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Bye. Okay, again, just to remind our audience, we are accepting phone calls, and John's offering brief readings. You can dial in at 888-919-2355. Please feel free to give us a call. John, let's talk a little bit about how to develop your psychic ability. I know that you believe we all have psychic ability, but how do we go about developing it?
Well, it all is about recognizing your personal space first of all. You know, that space that when someone gets too close to you, you go, "Wait a minute, you're just too close." It's a matter of trying to push that out and touch the energy of another person. And once you touch that person's energy, you can you have to learn to interpret it. And Purple is a good example. She was a person that when I first started to notice her or recognize her energy, she was obviously a person that wanted to maintain her privacy by using a pseudonym.
Mm-hmm.
She there was something about school. I kept hearing about school, wanting to learn some new skills. There were things I was getting about Purple that I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sharing because she didn't appear to want to give a lot of information or verify a lot of information. But when you are reading a person, it's like looking at a picture. If you are looking at a picture, let's say you're looking at mountains and a river running through a valley or something like that, you can only describe so much from that picture by saying, "Oh, I see mountains," because you're seeing mountains, and the person you're talking to might be talking about the river, but you're seeing everything all at once, and so it's good that the people that you're giving the readings to can verify your the information that you're giving them. A lot of times it's good to work with someone that you don't know, because if you know someone very well, you're going to say to yourself, "Oh, well, I knew that information." Whereas if you're working with someone that you have not known in the past, and you get information and they validate it, that helps you recognize that energy and helps you develop the next situation. The next situation, when you encounter that same energy, you're able to interpret it. Now,
Okay.
another thing is, and did you have another question?
No, I was just going to talk about that a little bit. So you're saying basically you sense somebody's energy and you have to learn how to interpret it. And a lot of times it helps to have that validation from them. But we're constantly always sensing energy from other people,
Yeah.
and we have to learn how to develop that or interpret it or be aware of it. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. Now, to be more specific, let's just talk about psychic feelings for just a moment. what I do when I tell people or work with people, students, about learning how to work with their psychic feelings, I tell them, let's start with some base energies. Okay?
Okay.
For instance, I would have you dwell on what it feels like to be around a man. Okay? And
Okay.
so you have this base energy of a male. And then I would tell you, okay, now that you have this base energy about being around a man, then let's push this forward and let's say, what does it feel like to be around a little boy? Let's say a little boy that is 5 years old. Okay, what's
Okay.
it feel like to be around that type of energy? Now, when I was talking to Ted, I felt like he had children. I would have said he had a little boy. I felt like the little boy was older. He might be a child that was wise beyond his years. But when you dwell on the energy of a little boy, there's a certain feeling. And then you would go to the next step and you would feel the energy of a teenager, of a teenage boy. And you can imagine being around a teenage boy, someone that might be a little bit of a risk taker, someone that might be always on video games, and someone that's just now learning how to drive, and so on and so forth. And then after you've dwelled on that, then you go to a young man. And you go to a young man that may be graduating from college, or maybe a person that is just getting their first professional job. And then after that, then I would say dwell on the energy about being around a father. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
And so as you develop this inventory of feelings, and as you develop these different nuances of what it's like to be around the different types of male energies, then you can move aside and you can go and work with the female energies, or work with the energies about being around a woman. Okay? Then you go little girl, the teenage girl, a young lady, then you go to a mother, then you might go to nurse. What's it feel like to be around a nurse? What does it feel like to be around a woman lawyer? Different professions,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would notice those particular energies, and then when those energies hit you, you immediately can recognize them. And hopefully you can see some of that or recognize some of it when I'm doing the readings with our callers. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, with Ted, I saw that his wife had been crying, because I know what it's like to feel being around a woman crying. Okay? So does that make sense?
Yes, definitely makes sense. So that's good advice. Um, so what value do we gain then from developing our psychic abilities? What do we gain from it?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why we have psychic ability. The one reason is very obvious. It's an early warning system. You know how it is when we sense danger.
Mm.
That is a value, because we're going to protect ourselves. Our adrenaline starts to go up. Another value for having psychic ability is to get solutions, to get answers. A lot of times, when you are sleeping on a problem, the answer comes when you wake up in the morning. So from my perspective, psychic ability helps you get solutions to particular problems. Whether it could be a math problem, it could be another problem at work, or another situation. But the third reason, and maybe the most valuable, is that it gives you insight, and it helps you gain perspective of life. Because when you have those aha moments, you have those moments where you get it, or you understand the reason why someone did something that they did in their life that you might not have understood previously, because you didn't, that information just didn't come to you. These are the reasons why we have psychic ability. We have this ability to help us with our soul's growth. and that's a very important part of our being human.
That's great. Tell How would we go about if we wanted to? I mean, is your book? Can we pre-order the book, or is it something that we can get ahead of time? Is it available on your website? And if so, can you tell us what that is?
Well, my website is just johncappello.com, but I am taking pre-orders. I'm not charging anyone for anything, but if they want to send me their email address, I can notify them when the book is ready. It will be ready soon, probably by June, and it will be ready online. It'll be on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, and you can download the book. And it goes through all of these different things that I'm talking about now, about developing the inventory of your feelings and so on and so forth. But I am taking those pre-orders now so that I can just let people know immediately when it's available. So they can just send those to me or send it to you, and then you can forward it to me.
Okay, great. So johncappello.com. That's CAPPELLO.com. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the services that you do provide in your newsletter and just different aspects of what you have on your website and what you offer.
Okay.
Okay, and just a reminder to our audience, you can visit our website and find out more about Epic at epicvoyagers.com or visit our YouTube channel, Epic Voyagers, for a free video presentation by John Cappello. We'll be back shortly. I'm Michelle Quazi, your host this evening, and my guest is author of Open the Mind, Exercise the Soul, John Cappello. John, welcome back.
Hi.
Hey, I just wanted to get in a little bit to some of the services that you offer, that you provide. What type of services do you provide, and how can somebody get a private reading with you?
Well, they can get a private reading from me by just sending me an email, john@johncappello.com, and setting up an appointment, or they can call me directly at 888-440-7130, and we can arrange a time at when they call, and that number again is 888-440-7130. So I do private phone readings. Of course, I'm in the North Texas area, and I can do private readings in person if they're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But most of my readings are now coming over the telephone, so that's how they can reach me. Another thing I do is I do what I call galleries, or and sometimes I do circles of healing and enlightenment. But a gallery is a public demonstration of the work of a medium, and it's a demonstration of the continuity of life by bringing in spirit and loved ones and guides. So that's those are the two main events that I do. I do also some meetups in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Houston area as well. So
okay, great. Also, we have a question from Jade. It says, do you have to hear the voice and know the name of the people that you're giving readings to? Is that important?
Well, I at least like to hear their voice. If they don't want to give their name, then they don't necessarily have to. But it's if they want a psychic reading, they have to verify some information. And if they want a lot of anonymity, it's probably best that they call me and we do a private reading. Because I certainly would not want to embarrass someone or in any way divulge something that would be personal that they would not want me to say over the air. Because I work with energy, and unless they have a specific question, I don't know what will come. So that's just being honest with them. Right.
It makes sense that you would have to have some information in order to read the energy, since that's what you're doing.
Well, I can read people without them saying a word, but it's in the verification, or it's in the validation. And once again, I have to go back to one of the readings that I just gave you with the gentleman from Massachusetts. Well, I was picking up that he was an extremely disciplined person. Well, I'm not an engineer, but I would imagine that if you're an engineer, you have to have some discipline. in order to do that kind of work, because there has to be certain methodologies that you follow in order to accomplish your goals. So that's why I was seeing that discipline around him. But unless he verifies it, unless he verifies some of that information, then I can't. I can only tell him it from an energetic basis. So.
Right. Okay. Just want to remind our callers that, again, offering brief readings at 888-919-2355. Please feel free to call in. Let's see. Wanted to ask you about your book. What do you feel, how do you feel you're an authority on this subject of the matter, and how do you feel that it's going to be successful, your book?
Well, I feel like I'm an authority on the subject because I have observed the way these abilities work with me over 20 years, or right at 20 years, and I have observed other psychics, and I can see how they're capturing information. And I feel like by me explaining things the way I have just to you about how psychic feelings work, about inventories of feelings, and remembering how we felt in particular situations, by communicating that to people that are just now learning about their own gifts, it helps them with their own with developing their own styles and their own progress. It helps them progress. And by me observing how the singular abilities work, it helps people understand how they work in concert with one another. So that's why I feel like I'm an authority, is because of the level of accuracy that I've had in the past, and demonstrate with new clients. That is what gives me the authority, and I feel like the reason why my book is going to be successful is because I feel like other people will be able to relate to the things that I'm saying about using your soul's energy to capture information and energy around other people. And I use the word capture rather than acquire, because it just seems like it is kind of a capturing, or there's a suddenness about it that the word capture demonstrates more so than other words like acquire. So I think that other people will be able to relate to the book, and I feel like others will say, you need to read this book from John Cappello, because he explains the way it works with me, and it might help you with your development. They might tell a friend that about the book. So
sounds great. I'm excited to read it myself.
Okay.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about psychometry and how it works? I know you use this method. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Psychometry is about energy imprints and recognizing the energy imprint that is on an object or a picture or even a pet. And we use psychometry quite a bit in our lives. And married couples use psychometry. That's why they know so much about one another without even speaking to one another. And by touching another person or touching an object, you can read or interpret the energy from that object. A lot of times people will give me a ring that may have belonged to their mother or their father, and I will be able to read information about their father or their mother, and in addition to reading information about them, because of the energy imprint that's left on that particular ring. And a lot of times people will give me a picture, and someone gave me a picture the other day of a person, and I said this person was a very angry person, and they committed suicide, and they used a gun to commit suicide, and that was all correct. And they were amazed that I was able to get that information off of the picture. But once I felt the picture, that energy was very clear to me.
Wow. So when you receive this information, how do you receive it? Do you probably have it in see it in many forms, or how it's received in many forms, excuse me. But how are the different ways that you receive the energy, and what is the strongest for you? What is your strongest
Okay.
ability?
Well, when you talk about psychometry is called psychic touch.
Mm-hmm.
And so the physical sensation of picking up a low energy field from an object it allows you to start to interpret with your feelings, your vision, your clairaudience, or your claircognizance or your intuition. Um, and what you do is you go through certain steps when you are getting a psychic impression. You first say to yourself, what am I feeling about this? Then you say, what am I seeing about this? What do I hear about this? Or what do I just know about this? And so I go through all of those steps with everything that with every reading I get, but you do that especially with psychometry, and usually you're going to get your psychic feelings first. Okay.
Okay.
And so, for instance, with a picture, if someone hands me a picture, if it's of one person, I should be able to pick up, and I can't tell you it's 100%. I wish it was, but I should be able to tell you if it's a man or a woman, first of all. And then I probe, or I push my energy out further, and I try to figure out if it's a husband, a father, or a brother. And then once I get that, well, then I can move further, and I can feel whether or not their energy is high, which would indicate to me they're alive, or if it's another type of frequency, which I would feel they're in spirit. Okay, so does that make any? Hopefully that makes sense to you?
Yes, that clarifies it. We do have a caller on the line from area code 647. So welcome. Hello, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm here. Good, how are you?
Fine. May I ask where you're calling from?
I'm from Toronto, Canada.
You're from Toronto as well. Okay. Do you mind giving me your
I'm
name?
Purple's friend.
Oh, you're Purple's friends. Are you pink?
Nope. I'm straight up your husband.
You're what?
I'm straight up your husband, and that's my real name too.
Straight up, that's an interesting name. Okay.
So just straight up.
Straight up. Okay.
Not purple, not pink, not Yasmin, and it's my real name too.
You're Yasmin. Okay, now I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Yasmin, do you have a particular question this evening?
Yeah, just like a regular question, I guess. What do you see in my future?
Okay. Well, Yasmin, do you have any children?
Nope.
No children. You haven't